Hey everybody, I have here on me the Meizu Zero. So this is the phone that grabbed some headlines last week because when this was announced, Meizu called it the world's first holeless phone. Personally, I think that term is pretty damn ridiculous. I think a more accurate way to say this is an uninterrupted, seamless unibody design. So you see at the bottom of the phone, it's missing a headphone jack obviously, but also no speaker grills and no charging port. And on the sides, left and right sides, where traditionally there are power buttons and volume rockers, there's nothing. It's smooth. So this is the whole selling point of this phone. It's one unibody device that feels seamless and kind of uninterrupted. Now, to be fair, that's not quite true. You can see there's holes right here for mics, and you can argue that the camera sensor and the flash is also a little bit of interruption in the device. But hey, that's what phone brands are trying to go for now, like that hipster, slightly pretentious minimalism that everyone's doing. Like Vivo announced something similar with the Apex 2019. So what Meizu's doing here, it's similar idea. Now, around the front, you do have some bezels on the top and bottom, but I don't think they're too bad. I think the phone still looks really good. This is a curved OLED display. It feels very comfortable in the hand. Ceramic is just a nicer material to grip onto than glass, in my opinion. That's why I really like using the Xiaomi Mi Mix 3 too. So it's still grippy, like it doesn't slip off my hand. So it's a easy to hold phone, and ceramic is just more dense. It feels more firm, more premium than glass. Now obviously, since Meizu eliminated so many crucial smartphone ports such as buttons and a SIM tray and a speaker grill, USB-C port, all of that, Meizu had to come up with ways to get around it to still make this phone usable. So the lack of a charging port, it's pretty obvious. This phone supports wireless charging. Supports wireless charging just fine. You see right here is working. And there's no buttons on the left and right, no physical buttons anyway. And instead, in its place are these touch-sensitive buttons, kind of like on the iPhone 7, you know, with that fake home button where it's not really a button, but if you press into it hard enough, you feel a little click. So that's what's happening here. You see, I can adjust the volume right here, you see, by pressing into. It's very hard to see, but there is a little bit of a dot that highlights the buttons. Now, personally, pressing into it, it does feel very natural. It feels like I am pressing a button, but it's quite hard to find. And I've been using this phone for a couple of hours, and I'm still like, anytime I want to lower the volume, I have to be like, oh, I have to look at it to do this. Likewise with the power button. So it's right here on the right side. Same thing. You just press into it, the phone sleeps. So it's pretty natural. When you press into it, you do feel a little tactile click. But again, it's a little bit hard to find. When I first got this phone, it took me like 5 minutes. Well, not 5 minutes. It took me like 90 seconds to turn it on because I wasn't sure what a button was and how hard I had to press it. Okay, next up, to replace the missing speaker grills, Meizu is using piezoelectric transducer technology. That's not new. Xiaomi did it with the first Mi Mix. So basically, sound will now vibrate through the screen to you. So let's just play a video really quick. So I'm not going to play K-pop videos in this because my girlfriend's getting annoyed with me for always using K-pop videos of all these girls. So I'm just going to play an NBA video instead. So you see right now, let me increase the volume a little bit. So speaker does sound pretty good, like it works. Sound is coming from the screen right now. When you put your finger on the screen, it actually vibrates. You can feel it moving. Now the problem is, let me lower the volume. The problem is this doesn't get as loud as a traditional loudspeaker because I was at a coffee shop earlier and I was trying to test the speaker and I couldn't really hear it in the crowd, and the coffee shop wasn't even that loud. But if you're watching this in private, it definitely works. Let me play some music actually because you need to check if bass works. So we'll go to my band. Ooh, so there's a bit of distortion at max volume. So that's me on the drums, by the way. The screen looks nice though, like not having a notch really does add to the immersiveness. So the speaker sounds pretty good. I haven't been able to make a call yet because this phone, like I mentioned, doesn't even have a SIM card slot. So you have to use eSIM. eSIM, it's like a relatively obscure technology of a SIM card embedded inside your phone via software, and you can only set it up if your carrier supports it. Hong Kong right now, only one carrier uses eSIM, and I don't I don't use that carrier, so there's no way for me to use this phone fully out and about because I can't just use my SIM in there. I'll get to So yeah, that ultimately limits how much I can use this phone, but I'll get into that later. So now we'll talk specs really quick. This is a 6.2 inch OLED panel. The chipset inside is a Snapdragon 845, so yes, some fans are going to be disappointed considering chipset is like now a year old, but it's still more than powerful enough to handle day-to-day tasks for like 99% of the global population. Multi-core score on the Geekbench is pretty respectable, 8734, 2432. I mean, we know that Snapdragon 845 is good enough. There's 6 gigs of RAM in there. It's a little bit on the low side, however. I do wish there was 8, but I haven't seen any performance issues yet with the phone. So now let's talk about the software. I'm a little bit disappointed that it's only Android 8.1 here instead of Android 9, but at least the Flyme software skin on top, it's pretty good. I generally am a fan of Meizu's software skin. I don't love it as much as I love OnePlus's Oxygen OS, but I still like it a hell lot better than Vivo's FunTouch or Oppo's Color OS or Huawei's EMUI. So I like that you can bring down a notification shade by swiping down from anywhere, so they don't make you reach all the way to the top like some phones. I like that you can swipe from the edge of the screen to cycle through your apps. That's been pretty useful. And overall, the software is pretty zippy, pretty responsive. Now, Meizu does use a slightly different swiping navigation, so I'll show you really quick. So let's go into an Instagram story. It's tricky. So you need to swipe up a little bit to go back, and then you swipe up higher to go home. So it's something that requires a little bit of training. Like a lot of times when I first started using this software, I would accidentally go all the way back home when I'm just merely trying to back up a little bit. So it takes a small swipe to go back out, big swipe to go home, and then you big swipe and hold to bring up app overview. I probably would have preferred something like what Vivo and Oppo's doing, which is you swipe from the left or right side to go back, or Xiaomi and Huawei, which is you swipe from the sides to go back. Like this kind of like difference between big swipe and small swipe, it's a little bit funky for me, but overall still I don't hate the software. Like it's a lot better than when I use a Huawei phone, to be honest. So now let's talk about the camera. So you notice that obviously there's a bezel up top because there's room for a 20 megapixel selfie camera. The Vivo Apex does not have bezel up top because it just flat out didn't have a selfie camera. I think I haven't touched that phone yet. Now around the back you have a 12 megapixel main shooter with an f1.8 aperture and a 20 megapixel secondary telephoto lens. So this setup is almost exactly the same as Meizu's last flagship, the 16th. I generally think Meizu's camera is pretty solid. It's on point. Like it's not like the greatest camera around, but it definitely will get the job done. You know, colors are really accurate and shutter speed is fast and responsive, and dynamic range is really solid. This is not a bad shot at all. This is the neighborhood dog. She's so freaking cute. And this is selfie portrait mode. So you see the depth, the edge detection. It's pretty on point. See, it picked out my hair okay. It's a little bit strong, the effect in the back, but I believe you can fix this in software afterwards. So this is selfie portrait, and then this is a normal selfie, and it just overall this is a 2x zoom photo. Overall, the camera, it's pretty good. So now I must stress that this phone isn't final. I'm using a pre-production demo unit right here. So everything should improve even more as I use the phone. But as of right now, this camera is more than usable already. Like no complaints. You go into the camera app, it's pretty responsive, pretty zippy. You have all the different modes, including Funny Snap, which it's like those AR stuff that Chinese brands love so much. But I generally think Meizu's camera software, it's above average. I like that you can switch to the selfie camera just right here in the lower left hand corner. Some Chinese software has the button up on the upper right corner, and it's just stupid because it's really hard to reach with one hand. Okay, so that's about it for now. I can't really comment on battery life yet because I haven't used the phone long enough. Plus, I want to stress that this is not a review. This is a pre-production demo unit that I'm getting to test, so it's not final software. But, you know, I already know what the final consensus is going to be for this phone. This is not a phone that's meant to be sold to the masses. This is not a mainstream phone because one, eSIM right now, it's very obscure. Most people will not have access to it, so you can't even put your SIM card in this thing. Two, the kind of software buttons, side buttons, they're cool in theory and they look nice, but you see, it took me like 5 seconds of hunting around right now just to find it. So it's not practical. Same with this power button here. Like if you want to just unlock your phone really quick, you have to find it. I mean, there is a fingerprint sensor that works, but I tested it, it worked, but I took it off for now because this is unfinished software and I'm just not confident putting my Google info and my fingerprint on there fully. But I've used previous Meizu phones before. I've tested a bunch of Meizu phones and they always are pretty legit. This is not like a shady company releasing something that's like, you don't know what's in there. Meizu phones are usually pretty legit. So I'm confident that the final software, final version will be more usable. But still, this is a phone for collectors. This is not a phone you buy to use day to day. It does look very damn good. It feels pretty damn nice and performance is solid if you can get over all the shortcomings. So that's it for now. I'm going to be going to MWC, so please stay tuned because I'm going to have videos coming up on the new Huawei phone, probably the foldable phone, new LG phone, probably something from Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo, whatever else is coming. And yeah, that's it for now. Thanks for watching.